Transparency activist Afra Raymond was adamant yesterday that while there is an Access to Information Act in Guyana, there are a few striking contents of the legislation which has raised some concern amongst transparency advocates. He pointed out that the noticeable absence of judicial review laws within the legislation is also a cause for concern which must be addressed.
You don't have a Judicial Review Act that's been implemented. And just to explain how that is linked back to the freedom of information question, is that is how I made my legal challenges in Trinidad and Tobago, because a public authority receiving an application for information under the Freedom of Information Act has to respond in accordance with the law. If they fail to respond in accordance with the law, you then have grounds for the judicial review, but you have to have a Judicial Review Act that gives you a channel to go to the court and say, hey, this authority did not comply with the law. And without the Judicial Review Avenue, you're not going to have much of a channel.
Another issue the transparency activist raised is the 20 years cap for the disclosure of cabinet documents.
Documents that are submitted to cabinet are exempt from disclosure for 20 years. In Trinidad and Tobago, it's 10 years. I think 20 years is way too long. It should be disclosed on a faster time scale. Something that's 20 years old is literally an old, dried-up historical document. And it needs to be that provision needs to be modernized.
Meanwhile, President of Transparency International Guyana Incorporated, Troy Thomas, too echoed similar sentiments, saying that the conversation on transparency and anti-corruption cannot be had without proper access to information.
You can speak, but what would be the basis of, what would be the supporting evidence about which you speak? And our Access to Information Act, TIGI has concluded previously, can be used to restrict access to information instead of facilitate access to information. And that is something that needs to be addressed. Investigative journalism, what information will they collect? You can collect information from individuals, but you should also be able to access official documents. Now, we have an Access to Information Act that does not really facilitate that, or depends on the commissioner and what the commissioner thinks about what you would have requested.
This, according to the head of the Transparency Watchdog body, is not appropriate or the standard that should obtain. Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Manikchand.